Joining me in studio now is our regular business expert, Ger Tanham of Island Bridge Development. Good morning, Ger.
Good morning to you, Bill.
And by our guests, Yasmine from SmartWallPaint and Ronan Clark.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Ronan.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Yasmine. You're all very welcome. Now, we spoke to one of their customers, Frank Herity from Waterford Institute of Technology. So before we hear from our guests today, have a listen to this.
We had a requirement to fit out a refurbished building with whiteboards, cost constraints, etc. Started looking for an alternative. Found a number of products in the marketplace that would do, but I started looking for a third-party company that would apply them, and then I found SmartWallPaint could give us the turnkey solution to actually supply the material and apply it to the walls. Simple as that. We got SmartWall to come along, and they prepared a sample room for us, and we tested it over a 6-week period. Accepted that the product was exactly what we required, and it did what it said on the tin, pardon the pun, and they came then and did the actual building that we required them to do. Excellent product from our point of view for two purposes. One, you're not constrained to the standard whiteboard size. You can fill the available space. And secondly, it gives you a larger writing area vertically as well as horizontally, so this gives better working space for academics to use in the teaching environment.
That was Frank Herity from Waterford Institute of Technology on his thoughts on today's business. So, Ronan, let's kickstart with you. Tell me about the product.
Thanks, Bill. So SmartWallPaint effectively turns any surface into a whiteboard. So the benefit of the product to the customer is that it turns entire rooms and walls into creative spaces where you can whiteboard ideas and deliver large amounts of information.
When you say whiteboard, you mean a board that you can write on?
It's effectively a paint that turns a wall into a whiteboard. So you apply it with one coat and the entire wall becomes a whiteboard.
Fantastic.
So you write on it just the same, just like a whiteboard.
And how is it doing?
It's great. It's going pretty well. The UK is our largest market. We're also shipping to Canada, the USA, Europe, Australia, and it's going pretty well day by day.
Very good. Ger Tanham, tell me about this business. Is there a market here in Ireland for it?
I think there's certainly a market. I think like all innovative ideas, one of the key challenges is going to be, in a sense, turning the market on, because when you're bringing something new, people often have that itch you didn't know you had. Then you're scratching that itch and you're having to remind people that this is something that matters, that there's an opportunity in this case to make space that previously wouldn't have been available to a business or to a school or to a homeowner. It's making that space a creative space.
Well, the appeal of the product, tell me, is it a broad appeal? Is it a narrow focus appeal? Is it niche? What is it?
No, I don't think it's a niche interest. Obviously, it's going to find a kind of a natural home in the office stationery kind of a space or the office fit-out space. But I think equally there's going to be opportunities, if you like, right across the board, insofar as I think homeowners, for example, will find the opportunity to turn a space, for example, kids destroying your walls isn't uncommon, and I think rather than treating the nursery as a sort of a museum room, that actually making one of the walls a whiteboard, for example, I think would have huge appeal.
Well, take me back to basics. Is it an Irish product?
Yeah, we spent, I suppose we came up with the original idea back in 2006, and we spent from 2008 in research and development, developing, prototyping, tweaking the formula, and we launched in May of this year.
Are there lots of you?
No, just there's myself, there's 4 of us now. There's myself, Yasmine, Yasmine's marketing, administration and sales at the moment, so that's we.
And what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses in the product?
Well, our strength, it's a great product. It works really well, so it outperforms traditional whiteboards. So its customers love it. So so just recently we've just SAP out in City West have just done 2 entire floors, all the walls in their offices. So they're using their entire office as a creative space, and they love it. they started off with a small area and it's become the entire office. So we've lots of customers like that, like the likes of I suppose Furious Tribe is another one. Relix Payments on the Key, they did an entire room including the ceiling in it. So it's very creative, and customers love it. So the strengths are it's a great product. There's demand out there for it. The corporate customers, any company that's is trying to maximise the output from their team. They get them into a meeting room, they're writing on the walls, they're generating ideas, and they're using the product to encourage that creative process. And that's the strength is quite simple. It really just encourages creativity.
I'm just tickled by the notion of them painting the ceilings. I'm wondering whether Michelangelo would have liked the idea. I think he'd have loved it.
Fair, yeah. So, what happens? Can you wash it off, or do you just put more paint on top?
No, you don't. It's just like a whiteboard. So you just wipe it off. That's it. It's totally reusable. We give a 10-year guarantee, and the product is so good it actually outperforms traditional whiteboards. So you literally write on the wall, and when you're done, you wipe it off.
And what steps have you been taking to get it out there? I mean, what have you been doing to make the thing work?
So we've a couple of strategies in terms of how we're getting the product out there. So we're selling direct to our customers online, and Yasmine has a digital marketing strategy in place. And I suppose up to now we've been focused on that direct selling to the customer through PR and online marketing, and we're now, I suppose, developing our retail strategies. So we're focusing on the UK at the moment. We're talking to distributors, and we're getting some quite positive engagement. So we've negotiations open with a couple of large distributors in the UK in terms of getting our product onto the shelves in the retail space, so the stationery world, and then also the home market in terms of the DIY retail stores. And for us, the long-term strategy is to develop that market across Europe and the wider large economies.
And have you had a good look at it, Ger? I mean, what's the...
Yeah, I've had a look at what they're doing online, and they'd also sent me through some of the product and the packaging and all of those things before the show itself. So I've had a good long hard look at it. I think they're doing a lot of things very, very well. I suppose the thing that jumps out at me, and I think this is really important, is that they're selling white space in effect, and they're selling white space that's ready to be filled creatively. And one of the first things I'd be looking to do is actually to declutter a lot of the material that they're showing. Website being a real case in point, they're falling into a trap which a lot of business owners do, which is that there's a feeling that that white space has to be filled. I've bought a website, and you almost see it like real estate in the sense that we've got to kind of cram every bit of the website full of information. So unfortunately, the website's currently a bit cluttered. And what that means, in effect, I think, is that the potential customer who's being sold white space, who's being sold the sense of, if you like, a blank canvas, isn't being shown a blank canvas. And I'm not suggesting, before anybody jumps in, a white screen, but what I am suggesting is that the information that's being put up has to be much more judiciously placed so that it looks creative and it looks still like white space.
Jared, you make a very good point there, and I do agree with you. The website needs a lot of work. It is very cluttered at the moment, and we are in the process of changing it to a more creative, open space. I suppose what we're really trying to rebrand it to is that it's talking about the product's benefits, that it's more focused towards what the customer is getting out of the end product. We are relatively a small company. We've only been up and running the past 6 months. So in the marketing department, it started off just myself. So I've had a lot of work to be doing in relation to the website, in relation to the digital marketing. But yeah, that is a good point, and it's definitely somewhere that we need to look into.
I think you got to remember that creative people particularly love white space, so it really is about issuing that invitation to people, in a sense, saying we'll help you to create a white wall, and you kind of take it from there. And I mean, we know from our own experience as kids, and if you have kids, this will strike a chord, is that you put a white wall or anything white, and the kids just first of all they want to put their fingers on it, so you get finger marks, but then straight away if there's crayons or there's markers, they'll get put into use on the wall. So you want to issue that invitation so the people are saying, here's some white space, how am I going to use it?
Yeah, and Yasmine, in terms of getting it out there and still getting it out there and being relatively new, are you coming into a very cluttered marketplace, or are you unique?
I mean, we are very unique in our market. I mean, with our product, there is a couple of competitors out there. But we are trying to brand ourselves under our product is very much unique compared to our competitors. And it is a market that will initially grow. So I suppose that is one of our threats, that we will get new competitors coming into the market. So what I'm working on is really just establishing our brand, and growing, I suppose, and then working on the export markets as well. But currently, like, most of our sales are coming online. So I suppose one of the main things that I'm working on at the moment is the online digital marketing.
And that's working out for you. So, Ger, what are your what great sage advice can you offer here, and what way do you see forward for this company?
Well, I know that behind the scenes, the guys are working very hard on kind of developing kind of channels into market, because very often, particularly when you have a new product, the temptation is to make your kind of sales one at a time, and really you've got to target as quickly as you can the people who can make thousands or millions of sales on your behalf. So instead of having to make the argument over and over again to people to buy, you're getting somebody to make that argument on your behalf. So I would say that's going to be a priority, and I understand from some of our conversations pre-show that that's very much part of the strategy of the company.
Yeah, that's right, Ger. We absolutely agree, and we identified the long-term strategy is to develop the retail sales channel, and that's the process that we've undertaken now, and it's going. We're getting some traction there, so it's been quite positive. But that's definitely the way we have to go.
And I think in terms of bringing the brand and the business, the offer to life for people, I'd be saying that they should be picking up on something they've done in a small way on the site as it stands. They've invited a cartoonist to come and to work on a white wall.
Well, that's hey, you're here now.
Bill, we've woken Bill up.
Real world, okay. So tell me about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, because in issuing that invitation to people to say, here's some creative space, use it, I think that there's a great opportunity from the point of view of getting creative people. And I think people, the more visually exciting, the better. People, in a sense, who will start in customers' minds to kind of stand for all the possibilities that are in the product.
And is that just a gimmick, or is that just another way to get it out there? I mean,
it's a bit of both. I mean, it's a great gimmick, but gimmick's only useful to a business if, in effect, it helps the customer to see the possibility in a product or service.
Well, as the song says, you got to get a gimmick. I mean, Ronan, from your point of view, how do you feel it's progressing?
Just on that point, that's exactly it. I mean, I suppose people all their lives have been told, do not write on the walls, and when we go into their offices, we turn entire rooms into creative white spaces, and trying to get the first person to come up to the wall, put the marker on it, and yes, it erases, and then they're away and they love it and they start to use it. And it's getting that out there that yes, you can write on the walls, and the walls in your office can become a working canvas, and that's kind of the message we have to get out there.
Brands are really, really powerful when they have personality. Yeah. And what Ronan has just touched on there is really important, is that there's an opportunity, I think, for SmartWallPaint to be a little mischievous. And I would say he needs to take that starting point of the urge in the child to make the first mark as the opportunity, because in a sense, as he's absolutely right, we've been told for a long time, don't touch, in a sense, get your dirty hands off the wall, and this is an invitation to get your dirty hands on the wall, and I think that's the opportunity.
But all business works better, and adults work better when they reconnect with their inner child.
Yes.
I mean, you have to set yourself free of all the ridiculousness that you cover yourself in as you grow up and as you put on your suit of armour to deal with life and college and colleagues and people, and suddenly along comes this product, and I just think what you're doing is telling us all to unlearn, and that's a really good thing. Would you feel that that's true?
Exactly. I mean, it's about that, getting that creative, let that creative animal loose. Get into your office and get into a meeting room. If you're giving a presentation, you project your presentation onto the wall. You can have your creative, getting people in the room to communicate, collaborate, work out ideas. Let them progress along the wall. You can see where the idea generated to where it finished up, and it's all there in one space. That then you can take a photo of it, email it around, and it's about unleashing the creativity.
Well, that's terrific. I just want to wish you all well. I want to wish you, Yasmine and Ronan, thanks very much for coming in. And SmartWallPaint is the name to be looking after. Ger Tannum, as usual, from Island Bridge Brand Development, thanks also. And stay with us as our regular Price Watch expert Conor Pope